What if the most beautiful version of yourself is the one that you have been too afraid to show to the world? In this episode, we dive into the raw power of self-expression, art and courage with the extraordinary Grier Neilson. From body painting pregnant women to creating Feathered, an empowering photographic journey through the rugged Australian landscape. Grier shares how she helps women strip away self-doubt and rediscover their strength through art. We'll explore her iconic Flock 50 project, the vulnerability of being seen, what it takes to turn a bold vision into a national sensation, and why she is manifesting a Nikon ambassadorship to elevate her mission even further. If you ever doubted your beauty, your worth, or your ability to stand fully in your power, this episode will ignite something within you. Let's dive in. Welcome to Unleashed and Empowered, the podcast for visionaries and hard-led entrepreneurs who refuse to shrink or settle. I'm Alice Taugs, your host, guide, and fellow traveler in the messy but magical journey of entrepreneurship, blending spirituality, energy, intuition, and AI to amplify aligned business and personal power. Through raw conversations, both solo and with inspiring guests, we explore the moments that change everything, helping you trust yourself, redefine success, and create with courage and ease. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Let's dive in. Welcome to this episode of Unleashed and Empowered. And today we have my beautiful friend Grier on the podcast. And again, I already know that this is going to be a very powerful podcast episode. So the way that I like to start each one of our episodes is to give the listeners a little bit of a background, who you are, some of your life trajectory, as much as you want to go into detail, and how you ended up where you are today. And obviously, most importantly, talk to us about your beautiful business. So I'm handing over to you.
Hi Alice, thank you so much for having me today. It's amazing to be here. So yeah, wow, I really don't know where to start. I guess last year was my 10th year in business as Bohemian Echo Creative. I felt that years and years ago, I started off as a makeup artist. When I was a little kid, I always had a camera in my hand, but I never wanted to make that a career for myself. So I worked at a photographic studio as a makeup artist for a little while. Eventually, I moved away into makeup and worked in that industry for a while. Then I moved away interstate and I started body painting pregnant women, and that sort of led me to taking photos of the body painting, because why have that done if you aren't going to have a documentary of that? And that's sort of where the photography in my world started as a profession. So I was living in Townsville at the time, and that beautiful work of working with women that are about to have a baby then transformed into working with women that had cancer. I worked with a group of women in the dragon boat club, and we produced a calendar, and I painted 12 of the women, photographed them, did their hair and makeup, worked with the coxswain and the bras, which were the support women. And we developed a calendar that raised them $40,000. And that still to this day, alongside my beautiful project, which I've just completed the first edition of, has been the most momentous. It's a really pivotal point in my career.
Wow. There is a few things that I would like to dive into. Obviously, our listeners now know that I am obsessed with human design. And whilst you haven't really gone into the rabbit hole of human design just yet, which we're about to go into during our mastermind, but you are a manifesting generator. And obviously what this really shows is just how you have leaned into all your different passions and into all your different talents and have now combined them into something so powerful and so unique. How I haven't really seen many other photographers or artists lean into, because you're not just the photographer, you're obviously an artist, and you use all these different modalities now to express and to showcase, in particular, women and empower women to showcase their beautiful bodies. And you have one of your pictures behind you, which obviously only the people can see that are listening or watching this on video. It is from one of your projects or one of your offerings called Feathered. Why don't you talk to us a little bit how Feathered came about?
Yes, Yes, I would love to. Feathered is very close to my heart. For me, I had this vision years and years ago. This photo is probably, I reckon it's about 8 years now since I took this photo here. I had this vision of photographing a naked woman with a beautiful big Indian headdress in an Australian landscape, and it took me a while for it to come to fruition. But the power of being naked in the Australian landscape using the female form is extremely empowering, and something a lot of women may never do. But certainly if you have the courage to step into that and own your power, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. And so I managed to find the headdress probably a year later after I had this vision. And then I was doing a bike ride to raise money for the fires that had gone through. So you can kind of see in the background of that, it's all burnt. And I was riding up the gorge towards Gumaraka, and I saw this mud flat that was just so broken and dry. And I said to a girlfriend, I said, I would love to do this shot in here. Would you come and, do this with me? She goes, oh, yeah, I'll get my gear off. That's so cool. I said, well, I will too. I said, because I wouldn't expect you to do anything that I wouldn't do. And then another girlfriend was with us at the time, and we were like, why don't you do it too, Alex? And she was like, no, I couldn't do that. Anyway, she thought about it. I said, have a little think about it. If you want to, I can get a second headdress. So I searched around for a second headdress, and she came back to me and she said, actually, do you know what? I would really, really love to give it a go. So I came back and I said, all right, it's this week. We've got the headdress. We've found the place. This may fill with water in a couple of weeks. So we need to give this a go. And a lot of the time that's how it can work. So you may not know the location in the moment, but the minute I see that location, I can place someone there and I can go, okay, this is our location. And so we packed up all the stuff, all the props. I made all of the staffs that the women have got, and I made some of the wrist pieces and everything that goes with them as well. And we travelled up there, and I said, it's in the middle of nowhere. Don't worry, no one will see you. We get there and it's down this ravine, and so we walked down there and we're standing there and sort of I'm getting them ready, and next minute this bus drives past across us.
Oh my God.
It was ages away, but they could see there were people down there, and we had the best time. It was hilarious. We were laughing, and it just took our friendship to another level as well. It was amazing. And while one was really happy getting her kid off, Alex was very nervous, and she did an amazing job, and the photos just phenomenal. They've got individual photos. It was a decision to do saluting the sun together as the two friends, and I've also got another photo of them running away with their beautiful cheeky bums, and they're running away from me with the headdresses at the back, and you can't see their faces, and it's just divine. But the individual photos are amazing, and I know Alex she's just moving house at the moment, but she's got hers above her bed, really large, black and white print of her, and she's looking down, and she's got the headdress on, and it's just a powerful, powerful image. That is a piece of art in her house, and that's the idea of Feathered. It's about stripping away the bark, coming back to you, coming back to who you are, and being out in the elements of the rugged Australian landscape and diving in and going, this is me, and creating a piece of art. And I just gave myself goosebumps.
I get emotional every time you talk about it, because obviously it's exactly what I do. I do it obviously for women in business. You do it for women that probably look into the mirror, or not even look into the mirror, and I've got these parts of my body that I really don't like, and I would never be able to be on one of those pictures that look empowering and that look sexy and that are very different and that can turn into a total piece of art. And I'd love the fact that obviously you had the two women, so polar opposite, like one is happy to strip off the gear and the other one isn't. From Feathered, obviously Feathered is a very permanent fixture in what it is that you're offering as an empowerment shoot, and I can't wait. I already have the pictures in my head. We talked about it. I can't wait to do it myself. Those pictures will probably never go public, but they will be something for me, just for my own personal gallery and for my personal empowerment as well. But what you have done
last year. What was Flock launched completely last year? Was that the first time that you've ever done Flock?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
So Flock is incredible. You have been on television, you have exhibited the images, you've had your photos in the advertiser. This has made headlines, dare to say, around Australia, because you did have people nationally ringing you up and saying, I want to be part of Feathered. How do you birth such a powerful concept, and how do you then sit with that creation and let that unfold in your heart and in physical form when sometimes the self-doubt and all of that can come in and it's just like, oh no, this is too big. I can't possibly make that happen.
Well, Flock came to me because I was turning 50 in 2024. And I thought, what better way to celebrate me turning 50 than to celebrate that with 50 other women in their 50s? And so I then brainstormed a name with Jodie, and I think that was the turning point for me because I had something to pivot on, and I kind of went, okay, this is real. I've got a name for this. It's Flock 50, and there's a bit of a pattern there. You'll notice feathers are a big thing for me, and I can explain why later if you like. But Flock is about the women coming together. So there's 50 women flocking together to celebrate what it is to be in their 50s and turning 50. So women had to have been turning 50 in 2024, leaving their 50s in 2024 to be a part of the original Flock 50 group. Initially, it was just going to be a small photo shoot. I can't do small. It's like
You are not designed for small. I'm sorry.
Go hard or go home. So it's each individual woman has an individual shoot tailored to them. It's not just a quick come in, have a half an hour photo shoot and go. This is about celebrating the human that you are once you've reached that pivotal point of 50 plus. And, it can be quite confronting to do this. I had a questionnaire that everyone fills out. Some women really reflected on that. It was really hard, but they had to take a moment to really think about who they are and how they want to be remembered. What's the legacy they want to leave behind? These images are a memory. They are a beautiful tribute to you as a human that can be passed down through generations. And that is the beauty of a photo shoot. That is the beauty of the photos that were taken years and years ago that we see when someone passes. We've got these beautiful tributes of people. If we didn't have photos, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have those visual memories of people. So it's been really important for me to educate my clients about, with Feathered and with Flock, both of them, you get hard copy prints. Something that I was really dear to my heart to make sure that people had a hard copy. Some people don't want them, they just want the digital, and I understand, but printing is the best way to archive too. So when you've got a really special print it. It's really important. It's beautiful, it's tangible, you can hold it in your hand, you can look at it for a while rather than just flicking. The digital era has got us flicking and forgetting. So to have something that's solid, that you can hold in your hand, that's tangible, means that you can sit there and you can look at it for a while. Hence this beautiful image that I've got in the background. It's framed and it's on my wall. It's not me, but it's framed and it's on my wall because these two women are still two very special women in my life. I use it for work, but it's also a pleasure to have them on my wall.
Beautiful piece of art, that's for sure. So once you came up with the idea of Flock 50, obviously you had a coach that helped you to kind of, put it out into the world and start talking about it and start advertising for it and start getting people to come to that project. How did it get on television?
Yeah, well, that was quite nerve-wracking, actually, knowing that I was going on the morning show and it was going to be telecast live around Australia. In fact, I ended up on there twice because they redid it in the January after, which brought another influx of interest, which was amazing. But I went through a PR company initially. Top Knot helped me out there, and Diane was amazing to get that gig for me. So, yeah, that was really cool to be able to do that, and the traction that it got was incredible. So, yeah, I should repost that.
Yeah, I told you need to repost that. I would be totally squeaking in my boots. I have not yet had the courage to obviously put myself out there in a way that it would land me a television gig. My first experience with a PR agency landed my very first article in the Body and Soul, and that was like, holy moly, that was just like, you know, jumping for joy when I read that email. I was in tears. I was so excited because I was like, wow, this is taking everything to an entirely new level. So a lot of entrepreneurs, obviously when they start out, it's N equals 1. You know, we're hard-led solopreneurs. We've got these big visions in our heart that we would like to bring into life. But as women, we always think that we have to do everything by ourselves. And it can take a really long time until we have the courage to say, I might need to get some professional help here to get this done. So whether that is hiring a photographer for your first branding shoot, or having a look at what grants are out there that could give you access to a PR agency or a social media agency, things like that. It's a little bit like the chicken and the egg. When did you get to that moment where you were either pushed or where you said, okay, well, this dream is so big, I just need to get external help?
Yeah, it was quite early on, really. I hadn't actually, I'd only really done 2 shoots or 3 shoots, I think. And I sort of went, yeah, I want help to get this out there. I want this. I didn't even think about it going national initially. I only thought about it really being South Australia. And I just decided it was going to be my year to either make it or break it. And if I didn't make it, I would have been so disappointed. So I put my heart and soul and everything into last year. It was a massive year. And like I said, Diane was amazing in getting that off the ground and doing a press release and approaching a number of different organisations. And the morning show, I couldn't have hoped for anything better than a national television show to take it on board, which was incredible. And I also had Lisa, who is one of the original Flock. She is a journalist and she helped me also get in the advertiser for the launch of Flock. And also I put something forward as well to 50 Plus magazine, so I got a write-up in there as well. So definitely seeking help to get that. They're professionals, they know how to angle to get into those areas. I've tried to do it myself and it hasn't worked. So to be able to have someone that's got the right wording, that's got the contacts, they've already got the ins with most organisations that you would want to be a part of.
Exactly, 100%. And I think, obviously Flock is such a beautiful manifestation in itself and such a beautiful project. But if you look at it from a lens of business, then it does make sense to spend a little bit of money to get that message out there so that you can then magnetically attract the right people that are meant to be part of this project. Because, we only have reach on our Facebook, our Instagram, our email list that is so far. And unless you start leveraging either other networks or you start working with PR agencies, I don't think you have the ability to tap into such a big audience so quickly if you try to do it all yourself. So just head off, just to have the courage to do that and to fully lean into that and watch you last year. It just makes me emotional. It makes me so excited about what's to come, because Flock, you had it exhibited at in McLaren Vale at a winery. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I was flying out the night of the launch. You had a coffee table book that was produced as part of it as well. What do you see the vision for Flock for 2025 moving forward? What's brewing in your heart?
Well, look, the coffee table book was a beautiful success. To have a collaboration in a book of all 50 women where they had their own quote and an image statement, and the exhibition at Chapel Hill and have the images on the wall. I'm repeating that, I guess, because it was so beautiful and so successful in how it was done. I was really happy with that. So Flock 2025 is women 50 plus. So this is women in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I want their collaborative wisdom to join us in Flock 50. So it's 50 women 50 plus this year. And the beautiful thing is my mum's joining us for that too.
Wow.
So she's signed up to be a flocker.
Wow.
Yep.
That is a beautiful compliment.
Yeah. So so it will once again have an exhibition. So the 50 images will be hanging with an image statement of each woman telling a little bit about their story and their image and why they chose that. And the coffee table book will also be produced with their a favourite quote, the image statement. And they choose all of that. I don't write any of that. This is all their story. It's their story to tell, not mine. I'm capturing the imagery and pulling it all together for this collaborative book. So yeah, we'll have a second edition coming out.
Wow. That's just so exciting. And I know you've got a couple of pictures and the actual book right next to you. So for those that are on video, why don't we have a quick look at some of the pictures and just explain to us some of the stories, I guess some of the hesitation of, either stripping off or being clothed, or just even the process that you take women through to say, you know what, there is parts of our bodies that we rather hide under clothing, but in photography, we can actually use your body and everything in a way so we show your chocolate side. We call it the chocolate side in German. I don't know whether you do that here as well. We call it the chocolate side. So, how do you work through that? So just show us some images and talk us through that process a little bit, please.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess, so like I said, having a tangible image is really beautiful to hold in your hand. This is Karen. All of these images that I have here are Karen's. These, Karen she's a dancer, burlesque dancer. And so the process that I go through in the questionnaire is asking all of these different things through someone's life, how they want to be remembered or what they even did, that they might not go, oh, I don't know how you're going to pull that in a photo, but it gets my mind kind of ticking over. And I ask permission, how much skin, are you prepared to share? Look, flock is not a naked photo shoot. That's Feathered's job. Feathered flocking. Anyway, so however, if you're confident enough, and I did a flock shoot yesterday, and she was just like, yeah, I just want to get it all off. That's me. That's fine. The photos weren't naked though, so she was covered up, but it was easier for her. We were in a creek, she was holding a sarong, but the imagery is much more powerful if we don't have knickers on and we don't have a bra line, and we can just see the skin and the side of the chest, or the hip. It is much more powerful if we can do that. So being brave enough to do that is really empowering in itself, and it gets to a point where women go, I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore, as other women don't want to do that. It's not about being naked. It's about the wisdom that they've caught over this time, and they've built up over this time, and that celebration of wisdom and magic. And it's not about showing skin at all. So I do ask that permission. It's really important to me. This is your story, not mine, that I capture you authentically. I don't like making people feel uncomfortable. So it's about how far can I push that? Do you want to be pushed or don't you? And, we have that conversation. So, yeah, Karen was quite confident. She's a dancer. She was prepared to hold, she holds a dance pose. She had her feathered little top on there. We went down the beach. She's just got a bra on, a little pair of shorts. Beautiful down the beach, actually. We ended up finding a pallet that was left on the beach. So timely. It was perfect.
Well manifested.
Yeah. So we found this, and I photographed her on the stool that we took down there on the
Wow.
pallet. And I just loved that. That put her on stage, which was perfect. So those things can happen in shoots. Feathered once again is a beautiful story, and it is about the naked female form. I'm just trying to find probably the image that I'll bring up on here at the moment. Very powerful with reflection. This was taken from Port Elliot, and we have a number of consultations and work through what we're going to do at this time. So for Elsa, I'd made a feathered handpiece for her to hold. Peacock feathers were really important, very important to her, so I constructed something out of peacock feathers. I also made a headpiece that she wore, which we tied around her hair, which had shells and sea glass, which she'd provided me to use, and peacock feathers. And we used those in multiple different ways. throughout the photo shoot. So they're just a beautiful connection to self, because it's us making that piece of art, not me. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And this is the book. So it's
Flock 50.
Finished in copper foil, embossed, and knock my mic. You can see that
Wow.
each woman has a double spread page with her favourite quote
And her picture. Yeah.
and her picture, and then in the back we have the image statements, which just explain a little bit about that. So.
And for anyone who's not on video, we're going to provide the Instagram and the website details in the show notes so that you can have a look at the beautiful images and the beautiful art that Grier has created with her clients. Now, when you do such important work, because obviously you have to be in a state where you, I don't know, like put everything aside, put ego aside, put, I don't know, a certain concept aside of what you have in mind and let that creativity flow in. Is there anything that you do in your personal time that kind of fuels you towards having that creativity in that photography and in that art that you are creating?
That's a great question. I'm a movement woman. I love moving. I love adventure. So personally, I do a lot of yoga and a lot of walking, paddleboarding, where I'm in touch with nature. I guess that's a really big thing for me. I mean, my yoga is hot yoga, but so I sweat that out and breathe a lot, but I love being out in nature. I love being on the water. So that's my soul food. Is doing that kind of thing. I also love inspiration. So I jump on Pinterest a lot. You know, I'll Google different things and I ask my clients to do the same. I'm a very visual person. So being able to be on the same path and the same track as my client visually is really important. So I do ask for inspiration from my clients, just to say, so I know what they like, so I can go, okay, we can be on the same page here. You know, it's not going to be the same as theirs because it's you and me. It's not that person and that photographer. We'll create our own, but I know what you like. And then when it comes to photo shoot time, it's really important that I put music on always before I go to my shoot. High vibe music I love, and I'll sing in my car and get to the photo shoot, and then it's my turn to hold space for them. I'm also really authentic in myself. If I might just have to take a moment to think and, you know, get on track, and I try not to rush at all. In fact, I don't rush my clients through photo shoots. I don't like that. If it takes a little bit more time than the allocated time, so be it. It's about capturing that person authentically as they are, and so holding space and allowing people to breathe, making them feel comfortable, I feel is my genius zone. That's where I thrive, in just being able to say to them, just breathe. Let's just breathe. We'll do funny things. I'll blow, you know, make funny noises with my mouth, or I don't know, I'm not a funny person, but I'll do something funny, and, you know, it just lightens the load.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the fact that you're such a beautiful, grounded personality as well obviously really helps in getting people to that relaxed state, to drop out of all the this could happen or that could happen, or, you know, this wrinkle could be visible, or that little bit of extra deliciousness could be exposed, or whatever the case might be. So I can only imagine how you would lean into that and how you would just make people so relaxed just purely by being you and being in your presence. I'm going to put you on the spot here, because don't be scared. It's not that bad. Because I really believe in the fact that unless you speak out a manifestation out loud, and I'm very upfront with the fact that I still want to build a retreat space in South Australia. Whenever I have the opportunity, I tell people that, because unless you tell people, things just never happen. And it could be the case that one of our listeners might have a connection. You have shared with me that you have a little dream of somebody sponsoring you as a photographer. Who would that be? I would love, yes, sponsorship around Flock, to be able to provide these experiences to women that may not be able to afford them. I feel every woman is deserving of having this kind of experience in their life. In fact, one of the previous Flock women has offered to sponsor a woman through the next edition of Flock, because she wants someone like her that was very nervous, that's never seen her beauty before,
that when she had the flock shoot and she looked at the photos, she went, oh my gosh, I've never felt beautiful until I've seen this photo that you've taken of me. And we had the best time in the State Library. You know, it was like, do you want to get your top off? No one else can say they've got their top off in the State Library. Can they? You know,
Oh my God.
we have fun like that. And, you know, no one can see anything. She had books in front of her, but it was, you know, not being able to see bra straps and things like that. So it was just taking it down and, you know, it's behind a book. So she said the best thing she ever did was invest in herself. This wasn't investing in her business, in her kids, in her cars, in anything else. This was a pure investment in herself, and she would like to be able to offer that to someone like her that can't afford to do that. So
Wow.
I'm looking and putting it out there that I would absolutely love some sponsorship to be able to put a few women through Flock and be able to experience that experience.
You also have a particular company in mind that you would love to have some sort of relationship, I guess tighter relationship with. Do we want to make that public?
Do I?
Do you?
I can't remember.
You shared something with me this week.
I've got menopause brain where I can't
It's a camera brand.
Oh, Nikon. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Nikon. You're
Nikon. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I am in desperate need of a new camera, actually, and to be able to have a camera sponsor Flock would be amazing, and to be able to share, you know, promote Nikon at the same time as, you know, photographing Flock, and I'll shout their name from the mountaintops
From the rooftops. Yeah, the only reason why I'm mentioning this as well is I used to have a Nikon DLSA. It doesn't roll off the tongue right now. That one. I had a Nikon camera myself, so obviously I was subscribed to all the newsletters and everything, and I know that they have Nikon ambassadors in all sorts of different areas, and that was probably, I don't know, 8-9 years ago when I had a look at that. So who knows? If somebody is connected to Nikon, do me a favor, jump on Grier's Instagram, have a look at her magic, have a look at her art, and share it with Nikon, because unless we put it out there, things don't happen, and it would just be the most amazing thing if we could say that we've made that come true for 2025. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Alice, do you know what's sitting on my computer right now? I have a sticky note. Contact
Well, see, this is the power of connection, the power of manifestation.
Workshop and sponsorship. So
Wow.
because that is one other thing that I'm going to be doing this year is self-portrait workshops. So I've done a number of my own self-portraits, and I want to be able to teach women how to do their own. Along the lines of Flock and Feathered, where you can do your own empowerment portraiture. So I want to run workshops with that. So I'd need a few cameras.
Yes.
To do those workshops.
Yes. And they don't even have to be new ones. They can just be demos and things like that as well.
That's right. For the workshops, absolutely.
So shall we talk feathers? I'm intrigued now about the whole feather thing. Where do the feathers come from?
Oh, okay. Yes. So, well, to me, feathers have always kind of been something that I've loved. And when I did the feathered photo shoots, of course, I had the beautiful headdress that's up there. And of course, that's lots of feathers. And that's why I sort of called it feathers. They've got feathers on them. And to me, what a feather represents is, a feather is so much like a woman. They are extremely strong, but so gentle. They can weather the storms. The water rolls off of them. You know, they can fly high. They're all different shapes, sizes. So there's a level meaning to what a feather is to me. And I just feel that a feather represents a woman very beautifully, along with freedom. And to me, freedom's really important.
That is so beautiful. What's the spiritual meaning behind all of this for you?
It really is that think, and that element of freedom and self-awareness.
Self-love?
Self-love, yeah. And it's something that's grown over time. I've gone through that process from being younger, where I don't think I had a lot of self-love, to growing that process and being able to look in the mirror and tell myself that I love me. I'm a good human. I'm a beautiful person. And to be able to look at all the things that I don't like, you know, I know when I went through my divorce and all of those things, there was all these things that I wanted to change about me. And when I looked into it, I went, you know what? I don't want to spend my money on that. I want experiences in my life. I don't want more scars or, you know, it made me see things in a different way and to learn to love and accept what I've got. I'm so very lucky to have the scars on my stomach because they are from my beautiful, amazing, amazing children that I have. And hence the photo that I put in flog. My God, I'm getting confused myself.
And the advertiser.
Is exposing that scarring and stretch marks and baggy skin from having babies. I couldn't be more prouder of that right now because, you know, I've been privileged enough to be able to do that. And so to me, that was part of my story and going, you know what, I accept me. I accept that as it is. And I do a lot of self-portraiture now. And every time I've done that, I've wanted to be as fit as I can, right? When I was doing triathlons, I was fit. I don't have any photos to show, you know, reckon I had like an 8-pack, not a 6-pack. I was ripped. But I've got no photos to prove it. All the photos I do have are when I'm not at my fittest. And I freaking love them. You know, it's, I think there's something in that. And if it starts with self-portraiture before you have, you know, go and have a big shoot done with someone, then start there.
Then go down that route. Obviously, what you've just touched on is such an important topic, considering that there is so much out there on social media these days that portrays, you know, the perfect body in inverted commas, and this craze or this following around, I need to look like that, or I need to act like that, or even now with AI, a lot of the images that are now being recreated with AI that look stunning in a way, but it's just not portraying us and the scars and the lessons that we have learned throughout life and what we have gone through, and whether it was divorce or whether it was weight loss or whether it was anything else. And so to have somebody to be open enough and vulnerable enough to say, you know, there is parts of my body that I don't like, but I can still look absolutely stunning in those photos. And I don't have the ripped body that, you know, I want to, but I still take the photos. And I think I'm getting married to an Italian. And I said getting married to an Italian needs to come with a warning because I have put on 15 kilos since meeting Stephen. Probably not quite 15, but around about 15 kilos. I don't want to go back to the person that was so skinny, because I actually now really like my curves. But, you know, I still want to have a little bit more definition around my arms, and I still want to look beautiful in my wedding dress in Tuscany in September. So obviously right now I have a very big motivation to just get a little bit more active. But for me, the last 2+ years have just been so beautiful, even though I didn't exercise as much as I used to in the past. But they were so beautiful because I have probably softened in so many ways away from this is what I should look like in order to be beautiful, to now have a little bit more curves on my body. And I look in the mirror and I'm someone who's able to look into the mirror. I'm not afraid of that. And I know not everyone can, and I can see the beauty in it. And I keep affirming to myself that there is absolute beauty in all of it that we display. It doesn't matter if we have a little bit of a bump on the butt or, you know, a little bit of tuck shop arms or whatever the case might be, but there is beauty in everything that we portray and every single moment that we go through life. So I love the fact that you help people celebrate that and that you help people to look at it from a different perspective and just even for the first time look at something where they say, wow, this actually is beautiful.
You're worthy of it. It doesn't matter what stage of life, you know, you never know what tomorrow will bring. And capturing today is so important, you know. So, I mean, as a photographer, because it is documenting the time and the moment, a lot of people do say, I can't do that until I've lost weight. I can't do that until I've done this. You know, can you please hide these scars? I don't want anyone to see. To me, those are all the beautiful things. That is what makes you unique. Your story, your scars, I want to capture them. You know, it's an honour to be able to do that. And a lot of, I've photographed, like I said, women with cancer. I've photographed a lot of scars. And most recently, a girlfriend of mine who was in flock, she's also had a feathered shoot as well. And she said, one of the things you haven't done yet, Grier, is photographed me naked, because I've said that's one of the things at some point, you know, let's do that. She's got had breast cancer, and her body's not the same, you know. And so during her flock shoot, she said, you haven't, you know, there's only one thing to do. You haven't photographed me naked yet. And I went, well, we've got 20 minutes. Let's do it.
Let's take the gear off.
And we did. And you know what? The most beautiful thing is that when she looked at those photos, she said, I've never seen myself like this. And just capturing that for her to see herself through my eyes and how incredible she is just so powerful. And that's what I love doing. I love being able to photograph someone and show them how amazing they are through my eyes.
It brings tears to my eyes. It's just, it's stunning. It's beautiful. How do people typically find you? Like, are there some of the stories where you say, I have no idea where this person came from. They found me. They obviously saw something that connected them with me, so that they established that early trust relationship. Because, again, taking off your gear in front of a complete stranger, and then potentially even in the Australian landscape, is not something that you do every day. How do people go about that?
Oh, we definitely get to know each other first. I would never go and do a shoot with someone like that I've never met. So it works both ways. I want to make sure that we're a good fit, that we're comfortable with each other, and that we understand each other. Because if we don't, we're not going to make it. It's not going to work. So it's really important for me when someone inquires with me that we have a chat, a phone chat. Then we'll have a meeting, we'll meet up, and we'll talk over the ideas, and then we'll go from there from there they can engage me, and we'll have a conversation and a consultation as to what that looks like, and we'll start the preparation. But I would never just jump in to a really personal shoot like that without knowing someone. A lot of people come to me from word of mouth, or they've been following me for a long time. And, you know, it'll be 3-4 years and they're like, it's my turn next year, Grier, I'm coming to have a photo shoot with you. And, you know, that happened a couple of times last year where that happened. Some of the women were in the flock and some were for business shoots, but they've been following me for a long time. And it's divine timing when it's the right time.
100%. I totally believe in that as well. You know, we, in our little entrepreneurs group, because we meet once a month in my backyard and other beautiful places and just hang out and chat and talk about business, we have a little love your life bucket list. And, you know, obviously your bucket list could be anything from really big things, but then also some of the things are really small things, like just, you know, going and experiencing a new cafe or going for that walk. So it doesn't always have to be associated with money. But perhaps if that's something that, you know, the listeners would want to do, it might be the case that somebody might want to add this to their bucket list and say, you know what, I'm coming up to this special anniversary, or, you know, I'm turning a certain age, or I have gone through a big transformation in my life and I want to honor this moment through a photo shoot. I don't think there is any better way than to capture those images and have that as a beautiful memory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I have once again been asked if it's all naked. It doesn't have to be naked. They're your photo shoots, you know. The beauty of the naked female form is that it's raw.
Yeah.
And it's real.
Yeah.
And there's no hiding from self when you do that.
No, that's exactly right. I love all of that. So we're obviously going to do my brand photos this year. So you don't just work on flock and feathered, you also do brand photography for entrepreneurs, for business owners, general photos. So I can't wait to see what we're going to do, because for me 2025 is coriander energy, and for me it's really about stepping into that next level of who I am and who I want to be. And what better way than to get out of my comfort zone and do that through photography. So I already know that we're going to create those magical images, and Coriander energy is obviously not vanilla. It's polarizing. It will be bold. I've got new branding colors that we're going to incorporate into that branding shoot as well. And I've already got some ideas. Obviously, it needs to portray me as a person in my personal life as well as in my business life. And I do have that beautiful blend. If you have somebody who's just started out, let's just talk entrepreneurs first. Somebody who's just started out and they're at that point where they say, I want to elevate my brand, but I'm not entirely sure what I should be investing first. Should I be investing first in somebody who does my website? Or do I get somebody first to create a beautiful logo and a beautiful brand? Or do I do photography first? What are your insights when somebody comes to you quite early on and says, this is the problem that I have. How do we solve this? I know my answer.
Well, I think it's really important you need to be able to put yourself out there. So you need a couple of photos to start with, even if you haven't got anything else. So just a little mini headshot day or something like that where you can get a couple of photos that put your face to your business because people want to see who you are. So I think just a mini shoot or something like that can work really well. If you already know your branding colors and your logo and the vibe that your business is going to have, then step it up a notch and, maybe have an hour photo shoot. So the hour photo shoot that I do, you get like 4-5 different looks and we work with, so that's 5 different looks in clothing and we can sort of jump through depending on the venue that we use. But we talk about all of that in consultation. But I think it's really important when you're doing this to have a vision of an idea of what your colours potentially will be. So it's really beautiful to tie that through accessories. So let's say like my branding colours are copper, turquoise, dark grey and white. So for me, in fact, I probably don't do this. I probably don't use all of those colours because my brand is me. I'll have my turquoise ring on. I wear a lot of hippie clothing, and so Bohemian Echo Creative kind of has that bohemian kind of style about it. It's left of field. It's out of the box. It's creative, it's visual. Echo is the photograph. It's the echo of that moment is what echo means. It's the echo of that moment.
There you go.
And so hence I've gone with a double K instead of a CH because it's the echo of the moment. And the creative is kind of the artist side. So bringing through your branding colours in accessories, so like it might be like my turquoise ring, or it might be a dark grey blouse with a turquoise necklace or something like that. It just brings consistency through my website. When I'm using photos of me on my website, there's a consistent flow. In consultation, working with people, we talk through the different clothing looks and the accessories, and I do try to make sure that most of the time we've got at least 2 of the looks that follow through with the branding colours for that sort of consistency. And then we also capture casual to sort of a more formal look. So you've got a variety of photographs, not just the same look in every photograph, but a different coloured top.
Yeah. That's really good advice because so why I said I know my choice these days is in the beginning when I started out my business, I wanted to hide that it was me. Like I didn't want to have the photography and I thought, you know what, it's very easy. I'm just going to invest in somebody helping me with the website and I'll make sure that the website looks really good. And then I was like, okay, well now I'm sort of getting to a point where the next up leveling needs to take place. And then I wanted to up level with branding, but I just managed to stop myself from that early enough, and I was like, no, actually the next thing is photography. And whilst you're still trying to work out your brand, it can be really hard to sort of say, I'm doing a shoot and I'm going to use that for my branding for the next 12 months, because the majority of the time a shoot is quite an investment. Depending on what type of shoot you obviously are going to do. And I always do full shoots. So I have at least 12 months worth of content available. So you want to make sure that you have a little bit of an idea of where you're heading. With that, photography for me has made the biggest difference. The most feedback that I have gotten around, wow, your business, it looks like your business is going well because you can see it. And so, like I only updated my landing page, my website this morning. My VA helped me with that because it still looked a little bit all over the shop and I wasn't happy with it. But the website and the branding is really something that probably needs to come after photography. in my personal point of view, because what we're now creating with the digital age is we're creating a personal brand, and people want to see the person that you're going to work with, and they want to see, does this resonate with me or not? Is this my human or is it not my human? And so I think one of the things that I did in my very first photo shoot in Sydney was I was looking at fairly neutral clothing that could then obviously be dressed up with the colors of the website, because I didn't know which color scheme I was going to follow. And eventually it turned into gold. So I think if you just have nice block colors, power poses, some nice backgrounds, some nice areas, even, hiring an Airbnb, or our friend Sinya, she's going to hire a hotel room. If you don't have the home environment where you say, I can't take the photos at home, but then I have a home office, so we kind of want to portray that. So there are so many different ways of how you can make that happen, how you can up-level your business with photography before you have the physical evidence in your products or in even the bank account.
Absolutely. Yep. And you can start with a relatively basic photo shoot where you've just got a couple of images that you can rotate through. The way I work is I have a minimum sort of images in the package, but you can buy more, on a payment plan if you have to, from that photo shoot. So it's worth investing in an hour at least to be able to get a range of images that you can use through content, websites, and those sorts of things. And if you haven't got your branding colours ready to go and your logo, you don't need a logo to do photos. Colours, if you've got a bit of an idea of what you want, keep it neutral like you did, but make them authentic. Who are you and what do you wear? Like for me, like I said, boho sort of style, I'll throw on a denim jumpsuit, and it really doesn't matter, because it's me, and that's who people want to see.
Exactly.
So as long as you're dressing, I guess, to attract the clientele that you're wanting, that you'll resonate with, and you can do, like I said before, you can do multiple looks. You can go from the casual bare feet sitting on a couch to, the formal sitting on a stool in high heels and a suit. You can have that range of photos.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing with you is, it doesn't matter whether I look at a photo of you or whether I see you in real life, you wear the same clothes, you are the same person. So there is a complete authenticity there where the picture matches the reality. And yes, you can obviously have photos that are a little bit more empowering, a little bit more posed, a little bit more of the clothing that you might not wear every day. But it's important that the authenticity is there, that you don't try and portray somebody that you're not, because that will shine through and then people won't be magnetically attracted to what it is that you do. Most definitely.
Absolutely. And it's the same with photoshopping and, photoshopping things out, removing things that are part of who you are. Like, to me, I generally don't Photoshop a lot. I might soften, but, our lines and our scars and everything, once again, that's who makes us who we are, and they tell our story. So it is something that we do get asked to do a lot of. Can you Photoshop this out? Can you remove this? Can you make me look a bit thinner? Can you make me... And I actually say no. I can't do that, because that wouldn't be authentic to my brand, to make you look different and skinnier and everything, if that's what you asked me for. Yes, I'll soften things down a little bit, and if you've got a scratch or a bruise or something that's not permanent on your skin, I'll touch that up for sure, absolutely. And if it's something that I've stuffed up, or I haven't seen the lipstick on your teeth or anything like that, of course, that's the sort of stuff that I Photoshop. But it's about being real, I think, and I think it's really important these days, especially with AI, that we keep real.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that you love to photograph everyday people. I see that in your photos. These are the people that are attracted to you, and these are the people that just flourish under your guidance. But do you have it can be a famous person, or it can be somebody in your network where you're like, I would so love to photograph that person through the lens of Flock or through the lens of Feathered. Who is that dream person?
My dream person to photograph, gosh, there's probably a list. And you're right, I do love to photograph everyday people. Like, we are just as worthy as the celebrity out there. So that's a great question. I would love to photograph Pink.
I will come. And can we share? I obviously know that you were in Adelaide at her concert doing some of the wardrobe work. So you probably had an up close and personal look at her. I adore her. I had her hairstyle for a while. It's not that long ago. Yes, I would be there. I would be hiding somewhere in the bushes just to watch.
Yes. Yeah, I have had the privilege of being backstage with Pink, which has been pretty special. That's another thing that I do is that wardrobe work. But yeah, that's a pretty big ask, but that would be amazing.
Well, you've put it out to the universe yet again. Pink loves Australia, so you don't know when she's going to come back. You don't know how.
Feathered. Definitely feathered for Pink.
Oh, definitely. Didn't she just turn 40? I think she's is she a little bit younger than me or a little bit older than me? I can't quite remember. Doesn't matter.
Don't know. But it doesn't
Pink.
matter. There's no age limit on any of my other shoots. Just Flock 50 is 50 and above. That's it. The rest of it is any age.
Yeah, well, I still have a couple of years to go to 50, but once I get to that age, I'll definitely have a Flock photo shoot with you as well. We have now talked for over an hour. We have covered so much, which is absolutely beautiful. Is there anything that you would like to leave listeners with? A piece of wisdom, a book, a podcast, whatever it might be? Just something to finish off this beautiful episode.
I think I would just love to say to everybody, don't be afraid to get in front of the camera. It's a beautiful thing to be able to capture yourself. You are worthy of photos, and as women a lot of the time we end up being behind the camera, photographing the family, and I think it's something that I've heard a lot of. They don't have many photos of themselves, so step in front of that camera. Not a selfie, don't do a selfie, well you can, but have a beautiful photo taken of you. You are worthy of that photo, of that photo shoot, of that experience, of whether you have your hair and makeup done or you don't. You are worthy. You are beautiful just the way you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that pretty much is the essence of your business.
Yeah.
That sums it up beautifully. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. I can't wait for this episode to air. One last thing. What is the last date to sign up for this round of Flock 50 2025?
Well, I'm just extending that actually and confirming. So the first round of sign-ups is the 30th of January. So I would love to have at least another sort of 10 people signed up by the 30th of January, and then I'll open up the next round for the final intake.
Awesome. Well, it will probably air during the next round of the final intake. So we'll hopefully include that in the show notes. If anyone is interested, reach out rather sooner than later. You don't have forever, because there is an exhibition that obviously is attached to Flock 50 again for this year, and the deadline is approaching.
It is, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Grier. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure you're going to be back on the podcast in no time.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.